Hello, I'm Lane Bowers, and I am the man of my sprinkler repairman. And today we're here on a property that needs some repair, and I'm going to go over some of the repairs so that in the future, if anybody needs reference to the repairs that I'm doing, I can refer them to this video and they can see exactly what I'm talking about because it'll be demonstrated on camera. So here we go. What we have is we have a property that is been maintained but not necessarily properly maintained. You know, people pay a lot of money to have people come in and take care of their properties and their equipment, their irrigation, their landscapes, and sometimes they don't get the quality that they expect out of the service that those providers claim that they give. Anyway, so we'll just go into this for a little bit. Let me get off camera and go ahead and we'll just walk around the property and I'll share a few things with you about what's going on with this one. So in this area, the reason why we have flags here on these heads is because they're inside the bed and they're low. The elevation needs to be higher so that they can actually get up out of the ground and water what they're supposed to water. A lot of times they'll hit the grass and they won't actually water the area that they're supposed to water. So what we'll do with these is we'll move them out into the grass area so that they actually water the grass and they more adequately water the shrubs, because as you can see, the head sticking up on the left is probably a foot from the base of these flowers, and the whole purpose of that head is to water the flowers, and it's only watering the front side there. So that's one thing. This head is up out of the ground, and the reason they did that was because it's too close to these plants. So we're going to move it back over here in the grass area so that it's backed up enough to where it can actually water, and the water will fall on top of these plants and water the entire shrub base. Over here you got the same situation. There's a head actually back there next to that wall that's just watering the back of those plants. We're going to move it more toward the center of the marquee so that it actually waters both directions and gets both shrubs on either side there. And there's also one on that corner too that's doing the same thing. That one as well. So you also have nozzles, that spray nozzles, and a lot of companies, what they do is they use what they call a van nozzle, and what it can do is it can throw either 8 or 10 or 15 or 12 feet. It's a spray head, it's a spray nozzle, and they'll grab a whole bunch of those vans by the bagfuls so that they don't actually have to carry the quarter, the half, the 360, the 270 angles. And I'm not a fan of those at all, because for one thing, they're water hogs. They use probably close to 3 times the amount of water as a fixed spray that's like a 15-foot half. It runs about 1.85 gallons per minute out of that nozzle. But a van would do 4 to 5 gallons per minute out of that nozzle if it was a 15-foot van, adjustable nozzle. So I'm not a fan of those, plus the tops of those types of nozzles, they end up getting broke. That's why you see a lot of these properties where they have, you see the irrigation running and the nozzle is broken off the top of it, or a portion of it is, and you got one big stream coming straight out the top. So there's this head, this is a rotor where this flag is right here, and it's buried beneath that shrub. And we're going to move it out into the grass area where it actually waters what it's supposed to, because right now it's just hitting the shrub and the pampas grass right here. That flag, you can see, this is one of the things about commercial properties, is the landscape companies are not mindful of the irrigation because they're landscape companies. Just because they have a landscape irrigation division doesn't necessarily mean that they pay that close attention to that sort of stuff. And a lot of times what you'll get is just like we have here, the beds have been enlarged over a period of time since the irrigation was put in, and your head to water the grass and your head to water the beds are not in a position where they actually do what they're supposed to do. And whenever they add mulch, what you get is you get a head that's buried 6 or 8 inches, and it doesn't pop up above the mulch. So every year whenever they trim the edge of this bed, they trim it a little farther out. Okay, there's 2 reasons for that. One, to make it really nice, a real nice edge, which is cool, you know, that's nice. But what they're doing is they're adding mulch on top of those heads, and they're burying the heads to where they don't do an adequate job of watering what they're supposed to water anymore. Therefore, we need to move them out of the bed, get them back up to ground level, and so they can water the grass area that they're supposed to water and the shrubs that they're supposed to water as well. So another thing we've got, I'm going to turn this on real quick, and I'm going to show you a few things while it's running. These 12-inch pop-ups, let me show you this real quick. I'm going to take the top off that head and pull the guts out of it and show you something. See this white ring here at the bottom, right there? That white ring allows you to actually adjust the head when it's up in this position. You hear that ratcheting? That's to hold it in place, to hold this riser in place so it doesn't spin, whenever the water comes on. And there's several on the property here that have actually lost the capability of holding itself in place, and that ratchet's broke. So we're going to replace several of those 12-inch pop-ups so that they have that capability of staying in the proper position so they can water what they're supposed to water. So let me turn this on. This is another thing that I never do. I never mount a controller where you have to lay on your belly to operate it. To turn it on, to turn it off, to come and check the program, to reset it, whatever. There's plenty of wall. It could have been raised up to at least that point where the rain sensor's at, instead of down there on the ground. That, of course, is seriously one of my pet peeves. The whole experience about having irrigation is to make things convenient for everybody. So now here I'm going to adjust this one because I adjusted it out of place. And these are the van nozzles that I told you about earlier, to where you can adjust it to almost nothing, or you can open that rascal up to whatever angle or area that you need to cover with water. I'm going to leave it just like that. So you see how that head is hitting the foliage of the plant, and some of it is coming above. Well, we're going to move it back into the grass area right here to where it actually gets above all of that and it waters the entire bed instead of all that water dropping right here at the edge. There's another van nozzle doing the exact same thing. It's so close to the plant, it's not even getting above it like the one back there. That head's in the bed. We're going to move it out. These heads are crooked, as you can see. They need to be standing straight up. So we're going to move them out of the bed and we're going to straighten them up to where they actually water the way they're supposed to water. There's a head right back there, and it actually needs to be moved to this point right here on a tall riser so it can water this area. So we're also going to go to zone 4. This is zone 2. Let me switch it to 4. And I'll show you the rotors. See that rotor? It's not doing a bad job. And actually it doesn't necessarily need to be moved. And it's actually watering those shrubs right there that I just pointed out earlier in the video. So then you got the next one down here that's really adjusted out of whack. It's adjusted in a 360, it looks like. And it's only supposed to be watering the grass area right out here from the bed edge this way, from the bed edge to the right. The other thing is it's buried, of course, and another application of mulch on this one. We'll put that head underneath the mulch. So we're going to take it and we're going to move it right out here in the grass area. Let me turn 7 on because I know that we moved one of the rotors on zone 7. And you can see the difference. That head's actually not doing bad, but it's also not standing straight up and down. So we're going to move it out to this grass area, and we'll make sure that it's standing straight up and down. Now this head is now that head is one of the heads that we've already moved. You see it's straight up and down, it's not shooting way up in the air like the ones do that are not standing straight up and down. We fixed a leak down here, and when we were fixing that leak, we straightened that head at the same time. So there you have it. These are the things that I'm proposing to do. There's one other thing. In this area, in the mulch bed, well, just outside the mulch bed, actually, there's a spray head here and there's a spray head on the other side over there. And my proposal is to move those back here to the curb and put MP rotators on them. That way these shrubs get watered as well as the holly trees as well. Then in this area, all these heads are 4-inch pop-ups. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why somebody would install a 4-inch pop-up in grass that loves to be cut at 4 inches tall. That just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, these heads are not coming up above the turf when it's on. I'm going to turn this back on so you can actually see that. But the proposal is to change them out from 4-inch to 6-inch so they actually get above the turf, whether it's cut or not. And it will water what it's supposed to water no matter what, because the head will be high enough to actually do that. You see that? Not high enough. It catches the blades of grass right there in front of the nozzle. Same thing with that one. I don't know if you can see that, but there's another one on that curb over there as well, doing the exact same thing that this one's doing. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.